Hi, Janet. Good to see you again. Too long. Okay. Oh, Welda, how are you? It's good to see you too. All right, everyone. So today is, well, I'm in the middle of a fun tour where we started off in Taiwan last week and we had some amazing classes and we also I met a lot of new people and we had some really good discussions about how to fundraise for ACI. Hint, the rest of you, we need your help. Um, and then I took a side quest to Shenzhen, China, to see Xiaoping and Stanley, and that was unplanned. So I was supposed to be here yesterday. We were supposed to go to the beach. We were supposed to relax, but that didn't happen. So I got in a couple hours ago, and so now here we are. It's wonderful to have everyone here, and we need more live classes. And Aldo, we're going to talk about this next week. Daylam Shanti is going to be in September, October. I don't know exactly when it is. So we're ending our class now. So for those of you who haven't attended, we just finished 10 classes in the second course on Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And in this course, we reviewed mainly 3 of the 6 perfections. We focus on joyful effort. Excuse me, we focused on patience first, which I forget about all the time. I have none. And then we talked about joyful effort, and then we talked about meditation. And the meditation chapter goes in a very interesting direction. Shanti Deva, hi, Emily. It's too bad I didn't have a chance to see you when I was in Taiwan. You were busy with DCI. Boo. um, he gives us very little in meditation instruction. And then he just takes a left-hand turn and says, now we're just going to start talking about compassion. And it comes out of nowhere. So what we're going to do today briefly is I'm going to review the course, what we learned, and then we're going to do a meditation. And then finally, if there's time, if I don't shut up, we're going to have Q&A. So get your questions ready now. I do not want 5 minutes of silence. It's a waste of my time. Get it? Okay. So come up with your questions now. And then we will see what we can do about answering some of them. All right. So we started the course talking about patience. And we actually went on a whole trip to talk about the opposite of patience, which is Alona. Anger. Yeah, irritation, anger, right? And how anger, in a lot of ways, is the root of all evil. Like it's the root that is the kind of a root emotion that destroys all of our really good seeds. And we did talk about that a little bit. And it's not like anger doesn't destroy the seeds, but it basically creates a nice thick brick wall between your good seeds and everything else. So in doing so, we learn several techniques, some sort of conventional techniques, and then some more seed planting techniques of how do we avoid anger? And we have some really, let me slow down here. How do we avoid anger? How do we plant the seeds for the opposite, right? And the thing that Shanti Deva does for us is he basically says, look, let's evaluate the not the benefits. What's the opposite of benefits? The disadvantages of anger, what it brings us. And then he talks about how patience as an antidote, but actually patience is something that arises naturally. And patience is defined not as, oh, I'm not getting irritated while having to wait 45 minutes for my luggage. You know why I had to wait 45 minutes for my luggage? Because the luggage carousel was full and no more luggages could come on. There are 14 other empty luggage carriages, but all of them seem to be coming out on one for all the flights. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell? What is going on? And my luggage was actually three, I could see it. It was like three down on the conveyor that hadn't yet entered, right? So I was like, all right, I'll just wait. And I ended up watching a guy who was teaching me about patience by being the most angry, self-entitled. I'm not filling in the rest of my colorful language to describe him because I'm trying to be polite for the children here. He was very, very angry. I mean, I was like, dude, there's nothing we can do. Like, there's absolutely nothing you can do right now. And he was obviously from Barcelona. And and he was irritated at his own airport, and it kind of was funny to watch because there's absolutely nothing anger does for you. There's nothing anger does. It didn't make the luggage come out faster. Right. And then this little kid was running around and I don't know what language she was speaking to me. So I just pretended she was speaking Spanish to me. And so she had a little play horse, like a little like horse doll in her hand. And she just kept running around and coming up to me and, you know, what are we going to do? Like, what are you going to do in those moments? And I did watch my levels of irritation go up and down. Why? Because I was just in an airplane for 24 hours and I was sleepy and I was tired, you know. So conventional answer number one, hashtag go to bed. All right. When you're having an emotional moment, when you're angry, you're frustrated. I just wanted to tell that guy, like, dude, just go to bed. Like, just go over there and sit down. Like, if I had something to give him, I would, right? But he was so irritated, I couldn't, like, there was nothing I could have done. If they had like a donut shop, I may have gotten donuts for everybody or something. But that, patience is not getting angry when you should, right? When you normally would get angry, but not getting angry. When the whole world is conspiring against you and you're just like, well, you could either get angry like that guy, or you could just say, well, in what ways did I block somebody else from getting what they wanted? Right? Like, here I am, my luggage is sitting right there. I can almost touch my luggage. It was within, I could have climbed up and grabbed it. You know, no one would have said anything to me. No one would have, there were no employees there. Nobody was paying attention. Exactly, right? No one seemed to care from the staff side. All the people were upset. But it's the perfection of patience is really about, I think it's more than just anger, and anger is the worst emotion, but I think perfection of patience is about any kind of negative emotion, right? Like sadness or grief or What other emotions are there right now that are negative? I'm sorry. Mild irritations, resentment. There you go. All of these different emotions are kind of the opposite of patience. And I think what Shantideva is saying to us is patience really is a deep understanding of where stuff is coming from. Because what happens in all those other emotions? You think somebody at the Barcelona airport was out to get you. Why they put all the luggages into carousel 15 when 1 through 14 were empty. 4 flights, right? 4 flights. And all the and the carousel's full because everyone else is in immigration, right? They had 4 people, they had 4 lines open for immigration. Whatever, I think they were setting me up to be able to teach it today, actually. Like I was standing there, I'm like, ooh, this relates to the perfection of patience. Good, Tim. But really think about it. Like anything that disturbs your mind is a lack of wisdom. Anything that disturbs your mind is because you don't understand where it's coming from. You just don't understand where that annoying person's coming from. You don't understand where that annoying coworker is coming from. We all have our annoying coworkers. Yes. Just everyone nod, say yes. You're not the best Buddhist in the world. Just nod. I have annoying coworkers too. But if you don't understand where that annoyance is coming from, right? It's because you annoyed other people. And if I wanted to see more luggages on a single carousel, right, stuck, maybe I should annoy people. Like maybe I should try to come to class on time, Tim, right? Instead of make people wait for me. I don't know, something like that. Shanti, I really have a hard time believing that you're one of those annoying coworkers. I really do. I don't know. So, and then we move on. There's a lot more information. I'm not going to review it all. You can go to the class. Okay. You have to review it anyway to do your homework. Speaking of which, I didn't finish the discussion last week about ACI 16, 17, and 18. I realized I started and then I got distracted and went off on a tangent and nobody remembered. Okay. So courses 16, 17, and 18 are review courses. So after you finish all 15, which we're going to be finished end of next year. So by October, November of next year, 2025, excuse me. Yes, 2025. We will have finished the 15. I will have finished teaching the 15 courses. Then we have a year of review, course 16, 17, and 18. In order to get credit for those courses, meaning if you want to get the certificate for it, you have to have the corresponding other courses done. Meaning for course 16, you have to have courses 1 through 5 done. And by done, I mean homeworks, quizzes, and exams. You're more than welcome to come to course 16 without any of that done, but you can't get credit for it. Someone was asking me about this and was fighting me on it, so I wrote an ACI policy 2 weeks ago. And then I posted it. And then now they're even more angry at me. And I don't care. Because I think if you're serious about advancing on into the higher courses, you have to do the work. I'm sorry. I'm going to complain about something else today because I'm punchy right now. You know the expression punchy? So here's Tim's annoyance, right? This is why luggages get stuck for me. I discovered today, this is not your fault. I discovered today that somehow, after saying it 20,000 times, nobody heard me. I wonder why I have to see that, Aldo, right? I said it 20,000 times. Yet for some reason, everybody got the answer key to the teacher training final exam before they took it. And it turns out they were getting the answer keys all along before taking the finals. By the way, you guys should shield bad news from me when I'm flying because I get punchy and I get tired and I get irritated. It makes no sense to have the answer key before you do the exam. Oh, Tim, but we have to study. Yes, right. You get the exam and you study with your friends and you do the exam together. You will never learn it if you study from the homeworks and the quizzes. There were no homeworks and quizzes. If you study from the answer key, all you're doing is memorizing. And ACI is not about memorization. ACI is about catching yourself when you're about to get irritated at Carousel 15 in the Barcelona airport. Okay. That's what ACI is about, in part. Okay. So moving forward, everybody, you heard it here, ACI 11 class, review class 11. Moving forward, no teacher training final exams will be given with the answers beforehand. Only afterwards. Got it? Wasn't the project manager is sitting here, but it wasn't her fault. It was some policy that slipped under the radar. Okay. But okay, why am I fake irritated right now? What am I trying to show? What am I trying to point out? There's a certain amount of work that needs to be done to be able to move on. And yes, it's all seeds. Yes, if you all plant seeds, you will get tantric initiation without taking any of the 18 courses. That is true. If you have the seeds. And there's many people that do have the seeds. There's many people who are having experiences, they just don't know what they are yet. But we're trying to hold people to a certain standard. And the diamond way only really works if you have that foundation. If you really have the foundation of karma and emptiness, and you can say it, and then you can catch yourself at the airport. Because you have to have it, you have to have that, you have to have those neurons firing over and over and over again. You hear it in class, you write it in your homework, you study it, and then write it on your quiz, and then you study your quizzes, then you write it in your homework. That's 4 times. And then, yes, Sandra, you may study the ACI homework answers for the ACI exams. Yes. I was complaining about the teacher training. We're doing our teachers a disservice if they get the answers beforehand. You will never be a good teacher if you don't take the time to think about it and study it and really produce the answers yourself at the airport at Carousel 15. Get it? Okay. Sorry, some of you aren't in my classes a lot. Don't worry, this isn't about you all. I know you all get your stuff done. But that's the point of course, the 16, 17, and 18. They're capstone review courses. So once we finish the 15, then we have a year of just review. Like in a university, you'll be writing your thesis. This is just a year of review where you get to go back to the beginning and recontextualize everything you learned. There's so much information, folks, and it's all geared towards actually one thing. What's that one thing? Enlightenment. Okay, fine. Yes, no. Yes. They said enlightenment here. I would actually argue that they're geared towards one thing, and that's seeing emptiness directly. Because once you have that experience, everything else just takes care of itself. Well, we can debate that later. So the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm keep bringing this up, is we're now finishing course 11. End of next year, we'll be finishing course 15, and then we'll have a year review. And then for those of you that want to continue on, it's not just going to be an automatic check mark. Okay. Because it requires a level of commitment and understanding. That's why we do 15 courses first, and then we do the 15 courses again in 3 courses. All right. And you have to be practicing. You have to be doing your practice, right, Janet? Yes. You have to be doing the practices if you want to move into those higher teachings. So, okay. I'm very patient too. You know, some teachers make you do the homeworks before you even come to the next class. Okay. That's a certain type of student, right? I was never that student. I was the last minute cram student who had to get everything done, you know, the night before. But I actually believe in personal responsibility. If you're interested in doing it, you can do it. And if you're not interested, then you don't have to do it. If you're partially interested and you just want to come to classes, that's great. Like there's no one or wrong way to do all of this. It's what, you know, what you want to do with it. Okay, I'm done. End of my annoyed soapbox. All right. So how do you get all of that done? There was actually a plan, as there usually is. How do you get that done? And how do you get it done well? 4th perfection, joyful effort. You know, it should be a delight to open up your ACI student platform and start typing in the homework answers. It should be a delight to meet your friends here in Barcelona. And all we're going to do is talk about Dharma for the next 2 days. Right? It should be fun. You know, how do you create Awilda, there's not really a last date. There's no deadline. I don't work on deadlines. But just know in 2026, we will be starting Dalam. And if you do want to study Diamond Way with me, you're going to have to take Dalam with me. Oh, Tim, I already took Dalam with Venerable Jigme and Venerable Gelsay. Excellent. Good job. They're awesome teachers. And you get to do it again with me. Okay. Dalam is a preparation for Diamond Way. And you need to get to know that you have to get to know the students, right? And the way that Geshe Michael taught it originally is he taught it through the lens of his own teacher. So he taught the Lamrim, the steps on the path, and used his teacher as the example of all the steps. So when he was going through each of the steps on the path, when he was talking about impermanence, when he was talking about death itself, when he's talking about karma, when he's talking about the 6 perfections, when he's talking about all of the steps, he used his teacher, he used the living example of his teacher to exemplify all of those steps. I'm sorry, but I didn't meet Ken Rinpoche. So those are just stories, and they're good stories. But I'm going to teach it the way Geshe Michael taught it, by using my teacher as the examples. Because that's how I learned it. I learned Lam Rim. I learned the steps through my teachers. I didn't learn it through Ken Rinpoche. He was the lineage, of course, but that's how I learned it. So I'm going to give you those examples. So it'll be a unique class. And then when you have students, because all of you will, and when you teach Dalam, whomever you took Dalam from and whomever you decide to study with, just because you're in these classes doesn't mean you have to study with me. That doesn't mean I'm your teacher in that way. All right. You can come to my classes and you don't have to say, oh, Tim, you're my teacher. Oh, Holy Lama. Like, please don't do that stuff. Okay. Anyway, but you can come to the classes and learn, any ACI teacher for that matter, shop, do some window shopping, maybe go in the store for a little bit, hang out, see if you like the teacher. Like, the teacher should be a glove. They should fit really well. And not all teachers, they can still be excellent teachers, but not be your glove. Right? Maybe they're one size too small. Maybe, whatever. So just because you're in this class doesn't mean that, I have to be your teacher. Just giving you information. But whenever you do teach your own students, then you will teach Dalam from that point of view. From the way that you learned Lam Rim from your teacher. Right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And how are we going to do that? And how do you get there? Really, the way you get there is through joyful effort. My teacher told me, so my teacher did a bait and switch. Do translators know that expression? Where they put one thing in front of you, like they attract you with the chocolate donut, but then they put a lump of coal. You think it's a chocolate donut, but it's a hard rock, right? Like they attract you with, So my teacher, who still is my teacher, refused to teach me and said, go over there. It's like, what? But you're my teacher. He goes, if you're my student, you will go over there. Oh, Shanti has a very good question before I continue with this story. You don't have to do the 18 courses with the same teacher. You can study with 18 different teachers if you want. When you move into Diamond Way, it's best to have chosen a teacher because they're going to be leading you through that. But when I went to my teacher about it, and he said, well, you're going to go study with those teachers. It was kind of it was painful. Yeah, it was a little painful. But then he said something interesting to me, and I don't usually share this. So he looked at me and he said, when you're happy, I'll teach you. And it was like, mic drop. He stands up and he goes and he just walks away. Right? And me, I'm just sitting there at the table like, I thought I was happy. I thought I was happy. He walks into the other room and he turns around and like looks across, back in the doorway, and he goes, are you still here? Right. I was like, ouch. Like, let me lick these wounds and just like walk out the door, right? But it took me a while to understand what he meant by that. And I'm grateful for everything he did for me. And I'm grateful that he pushed me away to bring me closer. You know, he told me to buy a house on his street last week. What? You know, we'll see if I can afford it. That's a different question. But you see, so I really investigated, well, why wasn't I happy? Like, what wasn't I happy about? You know, what part of my inner being was still like crunched up and, you know, I don't know, self-existence or, and I kind of just I did a whole walk through my life over 2 years to try to figure out, well, where am I not happy? Where am I not happy? And then I found it, and I found the stuff, you know, and we're unraveling those channels still, but it's the joyful effort, putting joy in spiritual hardship, just to keep practicing no matter what the world presents to you or whatever your seeds present to you, whatever you want to call it. Can you just keep persevering with a smile on your face, not a scowl? You know, yes, it hurts sometimes. Yes, you're angry. Yes, all of those things happen, you know, and then but Shantideva gives us the advice. What's the advice for $100? Do I have $100? Yes, I have $100. Alona said, just in case you couldn't hear it, said, if you can change it, if you can do something about it, do something about it. If you can't do something about it, why worry? That is a Shantideva advice, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. And it's not starting with carrots. What's that? Um, it's not exchanging self and others. Be like a bump on a log. Yes, those are all Shantideva things, but it's not the one I'm looking for. That's yes, that you can take care of others first. That's true. Okay, fine. No one gets $100. Just you're the one who's holding on to the hot coal. Just let it go. You know, Gina, could you find that video? Is Gina still here? Did she go away? Gina, could you find that video of the kid holding on to the rope in the water? Because you sent it to us a while back when I was talking about this. So there's a video of a kid. He's holding on to a rope, and there's all this water going underneath of him, and he's crying, and he's screaming his head off, right? And everyone around him's laughing, right? And all of a sudden, like his mom like takes him and like pulls his feet down. The water is this deep, right? All of a sudden he puts his feet down and then he just stops crying, right? Immediately all the emotion goes away, right? And that's the beauty of children too, is they don't hold on. They can be crying, 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 and as soon as that need is met, they're done. They forget about it. As adults tend to hold on a little bit longer, right? But just let it go. Like find a way. And a lot of times, yes, things hurt. Yes, you don't feel well. Yes, you're tired. Yes, you're grumpy. Yes, your body hurts. Yes, that person upset you. Blah, 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 blah. You can tell me all your sad stories. You can still show up with a smile on your face, right? You can still try. Like just try to be happy. That's what joyful effort is. Even if you're having the crappiest day ever, just try. And you can see it in people's eyes. Like, you know, when somebody's upset, they walk in the room and you just look at their eyes and they're like, oh, that person's having a crappy day, right? And just try. Now, that doesn't mean bury your emotions and spiritually bypass them either. It's not what I'm saying. Feel your emotions, express your emotions. If you really expressed your emotion, I've been doing lots of neurological research on this. If you can fully express an emotion and just let it happen, within a minute to 90 seconds, it'll be complete. If you truly let yourself experience it, let yourself be upset. Someone broke up with you last week. Okay, just fucking cry. It's okay. You don't have to pretend you're happy, right? And it is awful to lose somebody, and the grief is very painful. And showing up and just, sometimes smiling is not an option. Shanti knows this. It's sometimes not an option, but you have an option to try. You have an option to show up for somebody else. You always have those options. And that's what Shanti Deva tells us is, even if you're at your worst, there's always somebody who needs your help. And just that little bit of effort in the hardship can tip what's the expression? Turn the tide, tip the sails, trim this. I don't know. You know what I mean? But just a little bit plants a different seed, then plants a different seed. Some days you may not have the strength for it. That's okay. Right. And then you go find help, call your friends, call your Sangha, call your counselor, call your therapist. That's okay. Like, we're not saying those things aren't okay. But Shanti Deva is saying, just try. If you make a little effort in the crappiness of it, that can turn the tide. That's the expression. Shift the tide. All right, Gina, can you play the video for us? Just going to show you.
ขาไม่ถึงนะลูกเอาขาจับมันยืนดิน้ำลึกมากทุกคนจับมันยืนสิจับมันถึงยังเอาจับมันยืนกระน้ำแค่นี้กูเบื่อ
See? Right. So that's what Shantideva is saying is, if there's something you can do about it, you can do something about it. And if there's nothing you can do about it, then maybe you don't do something about it. But you have to have the wisdom to be able to discern between those two. But it's the joyful effort that propels us along in the spiritual path. That's why it's called joyful effort. Okay. And it's actually the bridge between. Do I want to open that topic? It's basically the first three perfections and joyful effort. All of those seeds create the body of a Buddha. Joyful effort, meditation, and wisdom create the mind of a Buddha. So joyful effort's a bridge. Meaning, I see it as like you put that kind of same attitude into the other parts. If you put that effort, that joyful effort into your generosity, your ethics, and your patience, I'm telling you, there was no joy waiting for my bag today. You know what the joy was? Was a little kid. Reminded me to be joyful, right? Like you can pretend to be patient and be anesthetized. Okay. And after 24 hours of flying, you kind of just feel anesthetized. Or you could go run around and play with a kid, which is what I did. And we were talking to each other in languages that we didn't understand each other at all. And it was fun, right? And then Shantideva moves on to meditation. And he gives us, as I said, he doesn't give us a whole lot of instruction of what to do. And the instruction he does give us comes down to how well we take care of other people. He kind of just goes, okay, now we're going to stop talking about all the things. You can go read Kamala Shila if you want to study all the techniques of meditation. But he says, look, if you really want to get good at meditation, you have to focus on your compassion. And then I think we spent the last 3 classes on it. Like, what does it look like? What does it look like to take care of other people? Does anyone remember what the relationship is? Like, what is the bridge between meditation and compassion? I want it in Tibetan. $100. Do you all have Jeopardy in your cultures? Yeah. Jeopardy, the game show. No. All right. Well, nice throwing out some random Tibetan words, Roxana, but no. Nice try though. That is one of the meditations that you do to develop compassion. Yes. Daksha Namje. Okay, for $50, I'll give you the first word. Dak. Come on. It's the thing that gets in your way. Fine, you guys all lose. Dak Chenzen. You're self-cherishing. No, Roxana, you could have just thrown. You should just write every Tibetan word you know. She was trying to say Daksin. I think it was what she was trying to say, but she typed a J instead of an N. She's on her phone. Anyways, Dak Chenzen, and she spelled it incorrectly. Now it's correct. Correct it. Thank you. But it's your self-cherishing. And he says the main obstacle to meditation is your tendency to only think about yourself. Which is a tendency that we all have. If you're born here, that's what you got. If you're a dog, if you're a cat, if you're a flea, you have Dak Chenzen. Because you're afraid of your own death and you will do anything to avoid it, including hurting other people, hurting other living beings who are also of trying to avoid death themselves. You're just sneakier than the other ones. See. And so he goes on this whole tangent where he begins to discuss with us all the ways that we're just continually trapping ourselves in the cycle of suffering. And your meditation will not be good if you're only thinking about yourself. It's impossible. Sure, you might be able to sit down, you might be able to get into some subtle dullness maybe, but you're not going to be able to get beyond that if you don't have the seeds already in place to you know what Doc Chenzen really is? It's a pen. You believe you are you. Sure, we can argue in ACI 4 that there's past and future lives and you've been everything. Everyone's been your mother, everyone will be your mother. You can do all those arguments. But you believe you is you. Yasheng is Yasheng. Emily is Emily. Tim is Tim. Right? But you're no different than the pen. Okay. And by serving others with wisdom, you start to release the tendency to think that you are you. Because the sense of you is coming from seeds. Who you think you are is a seed. And if you think you are who you are before, and then you'll be the same person after, there's nowhere to go. You don't think you can change. Oh, you want a lot of money? Oh, go plant a seed. Like, who gets the money? Does Emily of today plant the seed, and does Emily of next week get the result when she wins the lottery? Good luck, Emily. I want you to share it with me. If you think it's the same Emily that wins next week as the one who planted the seed, you're stuck. You think there's an unchanging Emily that just went through time, but she's still herself. Like Christian just popped up, right? Hi. Is that the same Christian as last week? Is it the same Christy as last week? I don't know. But is it right? And if you think it's the same Christy as last week, and the fact that I'm perceiving Christy as Christy over a certain period of time and think of him as the same person is Doc Chenzen for somebody else. But it's me who's perceiving an unchanging Christy over a time period. And I think I haven't changed. And if you can release that tendency within yourself, and you can release that grasp that it has, let go of the hot coal of your Doc Chenzen. And then watch how all of your attachments show up and how afraid you are. I've had several mothers come to me freaking out that they won't be able to take care of their children because they study Buddhism. Well, who's going to take care of my kids when I move on? It's a legitimate fear, right? Of course, you're still there, not in the way you think you're there. But that fear of if I'm not the mother for that child, then that child won't be able to grow up. No one will take care of them. Yes, the motherly instinct is powerful. Yes, it's very important. And yes, all of you mothers out there, I bow to you because it's hard. It's not, I don't know how you do it. I can't even take care of my cats. Right? But that fear is so deep inside of us. And I'm just using that as an example. That fear is very, very, very deep. And when you start getting close to it and start getting close to unraveling it, then watch your fear show up. Primordial fear of the lack of a self. But you're no different than the pen. You are a bunch of seeds going off that are just you. And that's the basis of Diamond Way, because you could be anybody. And you can plant very powerful seeds to create a you that's not you, but a you who could take care of all living beings. You could become someone who's capable of so much more. You're just not capable because you have seeds going off that make you have the appearance of not being capable. Thank you, Shantideva. And we're going to move into, in course 12, we're going to be moving into the perfection of wisdom, where we're going to go all emptiness the whole time. But look what he prepared us for, is that to really understand emptiness, what are we doing? We're working against our own self-cherishing by starting by taking care of others, by reducing our grasp on just taking care of me first. It doesn't say I didn't say don't take care of yourself. Okay, don't quote me on Instagram incorrectly, Anastasia. Don't cut that out like that. I'm not, she can handle it. She knows she's not doing that. I watch all the videos before she posts them. No, but seriously, like, it's learning about how you and others are the same. You and others are equal. There's no primacy to you over other people. Oh, but Tim, I can't feel Alona's hunger. How was your hummus, by the way? Excellent. I don't feel her pain. She can tell me she's hungry. She can show me when she's upset. She can tell me when she's been hurt, but I don't personally feel it. Sorry. Even the most empathetic person doesn't actually feel what the other person's feeling. I know what it feels like to be hungry. I know what it feels like to be hurt. I know all of those things, but I don't actually feel hers. So why should I take care of her? What's the argument? Nope. Nope. It's not the future you either. Nope. How does Shantideva argue this one? Why I still need to take care of her even if I can't feel her hunger, her pain. Yes. You should have waited for the $100. Laura said, why does your hand touch your foot when you stub your toe? Your hand isn't, you didn't stub your hand, you stubbed your toe. There's no reason why your hand has to take care of your toe when you stub it. Oh, well, Tim, that's my body. Well, that's a stupid argument, Tim, because that's your body. Like this is the outline of your body, and that's the thing that's you. So of course, you is going to take care of all of you, right? But Shantideva says, if you try to investigate where you are in that outline of yourself, where are you? Are you in your finger? The finger that touches the toe that got stubbed, right? Here's my foot. Okay. That wasn't impolite, I hope. It's technically impolite to put your feet in front of someone's face. Okay. Good luck. send me to the hell realms and back. All right. But if I cut off this finger, does my toe still hurt after stubbing it? If I was in the finger that took care of my toe, then when I cut off this finger as I'm going to take care of the broken toe, part of me should disappear if I'm in my finger. Right? I can kind of see some of you are not sure if you're really following me or not. You have to meditate on that. You really do. The outline of you is arbitrary. You decided that you stop at your hands. I'm only going to take care of this little space right here, but I'm not going to take care of Alana's space over there. Because that's her space. This is Tim's space. Like, why do I only stop and why do I only take care of the outline of my body? Right? So now we're going to do a meditation. If you're having a difficult time taking care of other people, if you're having a difficult time, if you have a problem that like, there's another thing that happens is we get lazy about taking care of our own problems too. You know, we delay going to the doctor. We delay doing things. Svetlana, it's 4 p.m., not 7 p.m., 7 a.m. This is a meditation that can help you do all those things. It can help expand where you think you end. All right, let's do it. All right. I'm sweating. Okay. All right. The kids in the room are uncomfortable. It's a lot easier to teach when you only have cats in the room. Just kidding. All right. Close your eyes. Get into a comfortable position. Come to your breath. And notice the sensations of your breath in your body. Feel your abdomen move out and in. And with each exhale, feel the exhalation go to the tips of your fingers. As though the tips of your fingers was the place where the air was moving in and out. Now do the same thing, but bring the exhalations to the tip of your toes. And now with each exhalation, feel the edge of the skin of your whole body. Feel the outline of your whole body. And now bring to mind a particular challenge that you're having. Specifically about yourself. Maybe it's a health challenge you're having. Maybe you're experiencing intense emotions. Or maybe it's some goal you haven't reached yet. Bring it to mind and just think about it for a little while. And feel how that problem is within your body to the limits of your own skin. And this is where you think you end. You're everything inside. Everything outside is others. And then Shantideva suggests take that outer layer of your skin and begin to move it away from your body. So, kind of like it's not painful, but it's kind of like you're expanding your skin like a balloon from the inside. Or you could think of it like an aura or a halo around you. And if you're sitting in a room or you're sitting with in your house, expand your skin to cover that whole space, to include everybody that's inside who was outside. Now they're inside. And if you're by yourself, imagine that your friends or your family, they're nearby. And as you expand, they become inside of you. And with each exhalation, feel the edge of your skin, the new edge. Breathe all the way to those edges. And with the new edge, now think about your problem. Does it feel any different? And each of your breaths, you're also noticing that all the other people are inside of you. And then come back to the tip of your nose, just feeling the exhalations and inhalations. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And Shantideva suggests to us that the edge of ourselves is an artificial line. And I like to do this meditation when when I'm having a problem and it feels overwhelming. I just go, okay, what if my skin is this big? Right. Then all of a sudden the problem, it shifts the chronic force of the problem, or it shifts I don't know, I don't know, the knot in my channels or something. I don't know. But it basically allows me to see it differently, and it gives me a different angle on it. And it doesn't feel as overwhelming anymore. So try that. Like, it's really great to do when you're sitting in a boardroom. Like you're sitting in a meeting with work colleagues. You know, where does you begin and where does you end? And then you get a different flavor of what's happening in the room. All right, shut up, Tim. Questions? We're going to start with people online first. Nice. Okay, this is a great question, Sandra. Sandra's basically saying when someone says something or sends me a rude message, she takes it upon herself to let them know how rude they were being by saying, there's no need to be so rude, right? And that there's also this thing about, well, I should stop them from planting bad seeds as well. Then she thinks, well, shit, this is coming from me. And I should just do the 4 steps and just let this person be rude. Hi, Jackie. So the question is, which one should you do? Should you stop the person from being rude, or should you realize it's coming from you and do the 4 steps? So you're kind of diamond dealing yourself here. Like, what's the right answer? I'll give you an answer from my perspective on how I've handled it. And this actually comes from, I don't know the original source, but there's 4 modes that the teacher takes when they're teaching. There's the peaceful mode, which is like Manjushri. There's the generous mode, which is like Geshe Michael, for $100, right? Then you're just sitting on the air conditioning. That's what she solved her problem. She was cold. So it's peaceful, generous. Then there's powerful, which is where you're getting a little bit, you're creating more of the boundaries. And then there's wrathful, which is like Yamantaka, where you're just like, you're not actually angry, but you take on the appearance of anger. Okay. So the reason I'm bringing that up is, yes, you should recognize that when something is happening to you, that it's your fault. Hands down, your seeds. Okay. That's good. And then do your 4 steps and move on. But, at what point do you start interfering or getting involved or communicating, right? And I think different relationships require different types of communication, right? And it depends what kind of relationship you want. If you want to be in a partnership where you're kind of in a cold war for the rest of your life and you really never talk about anything, then you can do that. That's fine if that's what you want. But if you want something a little bit more intimate and something where you can grow and share and all those things, then those are different seeds to plant. So in the Bodhisattva vows, one of the vows is how's it go? You break the vow when you don't cut somebody's bad behavior off when it's time to cut off the bad behavior. But it doesn't really tell us when that time is. When is it time to finally cut off that bad behavior, right? At what point are they hurting themselves more than they're helping, right? And that's really kind of a judgment call on your part, right? You're not going to get someone to stop being rude if you don't change the seeds. Flat out, you have to start doing that work yourself, Sandra, right? If that's a problem, right? If you have a lot of rude people, I don't see you as a rude person, but it's probably old stuff. You just have to look at small ways. And if someone's being rude and you tell them, you're being rude, they're going to think you're being rude for telling them they're being rude. And then you just replant the seed. Right. So, good luck. But there is, it's an art form and it comes with practice. Like it's very, like the peaceful mode and the generous mode are the primary modes that a teacher will be in mainly. And then we'll use those other modes judiciously. If I yelled at you, Sandra, every time you made one little mistake, you would never come to my class again because it wouldn't be fun. Right? Unless you like being yelled at, which I don't think you do. But, there's a time and place for correction, and there's kind of a progression of it. There's the peaceful way, there's the generous way. Then you sometimes have to kind of, as a manager, you kind of have to embody all 4 of these things. When is it time to be more powerful? When the time comes, when do you just lose your shit and just like yell at somebody? But you're actually not losing your shit. You're doing it very, very consciously. It might look like anger, but you're not angry. And if you feel anger while you're doing it wrong. Okay. Because if you feel anger while showing anger, then you're just replanting the seeds for it. But if you're showing the anger because now it's finally time to cut off that behavior, and the way that it's wrathful is that the next moment you don't feel any kind of tension in your body whatsoever, right? But it's an art form. I always start with plant the seed first, Tim. Purify, plant the seed. Purify, plant the seed. I let things go on for a long time before I say something. Then I'll start with, hey, that might not be, then you kind of like start escalating. Now, if it's like destroying a team's morale or something like that, then you got to deal with it differently. But that's a different story. But it's an art form. When do you show up in different ways? And then you become a good teacher if you can master that. Good question. Next question. Someone got upset. Someone got upset at me when I. Oh, okay. So Persis is one of the Bodhisattva vows is basically when somebody gets upset with you that you don't clarify, like it's like spreading rumors or things like that, where you need to clarify what actually happened so that they lose the affliction. Again, this takes a lot of skill, right? If someone is getting upset at something you didn't do, that's easy. I mean, the first thing I would start looking at is the way you get upset at things without finding out the information first. Like I would start learning the skill of asking more questions before responding, right? And if someone gets upset with you and doesn't talk to you and you don't have an opportunity to clear your name, I don't know. I wouldn't spend a ton of time on it, frankly. I don't worry. I worry a lot less about when people think of when people think of me negatively, I take what I can learn from it and then I move on. I don't think about it too long, usually. Because it's just wasted mental space. Like just do your 4 powers, say, well, I must have gotten upset with someone irrationally without trying to figure it out, and just be nicer next time. Be more comprehensive next time for myself. And if you have an opportunity to talk to the person when people aren't as upset, then you can talk to them. But if someone's upset with you, it's very difficult to have a rational conversation anyway. And if you're both upset, forget about it. Right? Wait till the poop dries and then have a conversation. Other questions? Mm, really? Really? 46 of you? No. Okay, okay. What if that's someone you need to work together? Well, here you go. Okay, Janet asked the question, what if someone's upset with you and you have to work with them to benefit more people? Well, then you got to take care of it. You got to deal with the best thing to do is deal with tension now. Don't let tension turn into a cold war, right? Learn the skill of being uncomfortable and addressing things straight on right away. Like, hey, that didn't feel so good. Hey, it seems like you're upset. Can we talk about it? It seems like we're having a difficult time working together. What's going on? Can we talk about this? Sometimes I'll just be like, look, we have a goal to reach. I know we don't like each other. If you go really far with something, you say, well, look, we don't like each other. But we still have to figure out how to get along so we can get this thing done. What the other person will probably say, well, do I really not like them? Or am I just mad because they ate my sandwich out of the refrigerator yesterday? Right. That's what I like to do. I like to go to extremes. Be like, well, we don't like each other anyway, but we have to get this done. And then they'll be like, well, no, it's not that I don't like you. And you're like, oh, you like me? Oh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they can explain, and they're just upset with you because you ate the sandwich, right? Or you gave them a weird look someday. A lot people are weird. They will interpret like the fact that you didn't have coffee yet and you looked at them weird. You didn't even see them. Your eyes weren't even focusing yet. You just walked in the office and you're like, someone get me coffee, right? But in that, like looking around the room, you looked at the person and they're like, oh my God, that was such a, we're weird creatures. We're programmed to notice danger. Okay. But if you have to address it, you have to address it, right? And if it's hurting the company, find people who can help you with it. Talk to your boss. I'm going to hear it later. I talk to you all the time, Tim, and you don't solve any of my problems. I could hear Alona in my ear. No, but look, search for solutions, right? And yes, I do try to solve the problems, but I don't solve them the way people want me to solve them. That's why working at ACI is so annoying and very rewarding as well. All right, kids, it's 30 past the hour. We're going to take a break. We're now officially done with ACI 11. Congratulations. Yay. Please do your homeworks. Who wants to, you know what you should do in the time off between now and when's the next class? September 4th? Okay, we're starting September-ish. Find someone to do your homeworks with, review the classes. Try to make it an effort. Try to make an effort to finish the course before we start 12. All right. You have a month, 6 weeks. Try to, that's 2 homeworks a week. Guys, they take like 20 minutes, maybe longer. But the meditation takes 5, half an hour. I'm exaggerating, but find someone to work with. See, in the Telegram groups, I know you're all there. Just be like, I want to get my homework done. Who wants to get the homework done together? In my Diamond Way group, we meet on Zoom and we just do our homeworks. We don't even talk to each other. Usually what happens is we work for 10 minutes and then someone asks a question and then we talk for an hour. Right. But we talk about the topic, right? We're debating it. We're going into the ideas. So thank you, translators. Thank you, tech team. Thank you. Who's the host today? Marina. Thank you for setting everybody up. You're always there. You're always there half hour early, which is amazing. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you all in September. And if you want to stick around, we have a Lam Rim class. We're going to finish up the 5 problems and 8, well, not all the problems, but we're finishing up the 3rd problem. How about that? Of meditation. So we'll come back in a half an hour. So let's say goodbye to each other if you're not coming back, and see you in 30 minutes.
Thank you, Tim.
Muchas gracias, maestro.
Great class.
Thank you.
Ha sido un curso increíble. Nos vemos en México.
Yep.
I will see you there, Sandra, definitely, if I make it. All right. See you guys in about a half hour.